Okay, so checking in, Zach checking in from the road. I'm on a work road trip, which is ever unfolding, just how I like it. Started off as 2 months, now it's looking like it's more likely to be like a month and a half, or it was 7 weeks. Yeah, almost 2 months. Now it's looking more like 5 weeks, maybe. Starting from Kansas City out through Denver, then it's going to be over through to Utah, and then over to California. Had some flooding in Nevada, so instead got to go up through Idaho and Oregon, and spent the last 3 days camping there. That was fucking beautiful. So why I'm sharing this video is I had this really series of interesting little insights last night at my campsite with the fire. Was practicing with Santa Maria, and really beautiful moment that came through as I was there, and I've really been struggling on this trip. Just a hard time dropping in, hard time enjoying myself. Not quite a critic, but just a lot of feeling down, feeling the struggle, hurting, essentially in chaos, practicing my life's work, which is entropy, of just like, I'm in chaos. I don't have clarity. I don't have this gift of beauty and love to extend at the moment, and letting myself be in that. And part of that was I'm at my campsite, and it's right on this creek, and there's nobody around me. It's just me. And realizing, like, God, I'm not even enjoying this. Like, yes, it's beautiful. Yes, it's peaceful. I'm struggling to slow down. Struggling to really meet the moment, take it in. What I'm focused on is my dislike of the mosquitoes, which there are a fair amount, and then this feeling of like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing out here, like in terms of the woods, in terms of nature. Like, I don't know that part of myself. I wasn't taught skills for this. Like, I am wholly inept out here in practice. I've watched shows of things, so I have a fair amount of knowledge, but they've never been put into reality. And yeah, I'm just realizing, like, wow, I really don't love nature. I feel more scared and threatened by her. I feel a little overwhelmed by her, especially when I get out into big, mountainous, wooded places. I feel a little consumed. And I don't like it. And so what I realized as I was in that was, like, this epiphany or awareness came through of, wow, I have no doubt that, like, I can't be loving this part of an aspect of myself if I don't love nature. My form is nature. My body, my breath, the food I eat, my movement, my voice, like, that's nature. And I can only go so deep in my own love of self if I'm not in love with this thing all around me. And it's one of those things where they're like, he who goes within awakens. Yes. But this was like, wow, but I also, like, in this case, seeing myself around me will give me access to this part that I'm having a hard time finding within. And so there's this little, like, my campsite was off, and there's this little clearing, this little deck onto this creek. And so as I step onto the top of this deck and at the creek, I start to open, and the sky is blue and pink and yellow and soft orange, and just gorgeous, right over the top of the trees. And I start to open myself energetically. I start to relax and receive and start to let myself be in awe and see the wonder and the beauty in it. And literally, as soon as I start to take this in, see this movement from my right, and a hawk comes around the corner, because there's two little bends, and flies right over my head. Flies right over the head, right over the middle of the creek. Curves to me like it looks down at me, and flies right down the middle of the creek, and then around the next bend. And, I'm just like, holy shit! Like, thank you, talk about immediate affirmation, immediate response. And so then I settle, I take this in, I'm really appreciating it, and then maybe 10, 15 seconds later, I get a mosquito right into my ear, and do the thing, and so then I'm laughing at the contrast. So anyway, that was opening one. That was interesting part one of loving through my fears, opening up and seeing these things with my fears, opening this deeper space and this deeper capacity for self. And I'm still exploring that. I'll probably always be exploring that, but yeah, and then this opened up into a lot of, I found this fire stick. I'm a fire stick person now. It was like, it's very weird. It was like, how it occurred for me was in leading ceremonies. By no means am I claiming being a shaman. I've not done the work for that near enough. But in leading those experiences, and then having a fire and those things, the fire is important to me. And the stick was just like, as soon as I touched it, it felt good in my body. It brought back this 10-year-old version of me who just fucking loved sticks, and sticks were a big deal. And finding them down at the lake and trying to find the best one and keeping it was just this really solid, beautiful, powerful stick. I was using to tend the fire, and I loved it. And it started coming through and occurring as this way for me to practice holding myself, and for me to feel its firmness and its solidness, and its trust in itself, to feel that in my cock, and have that be part of learning to hold and relax into that energy in my cock, and hold that in my body. And started doing like sword training with it, and bow training, or staff training with it, and holding my posture and practicing swinging like a baseball bat, walking around as a warrior. Opened up a whole bunch of cool shit. So really breathing and moving is that. And then the last thing I want to share, which was very interesting, and I wasn't even conscious of this. I wasn't conscious of this. It came through as I was in practice. And so I was doing a breath practice. I was with this thing I was building up, and all of a sudden the energy of, like, I could feel where my breath was going. I was building this fire in my belly, and then it was like, oh yeah, I'm a fucking dragon. And started breathing this dragon energy into my body, and feeling my wings and these things, and I'm building this and getting bigger with it. And same thing, I walk towards the creek, and as I get to that, there's like this revealing, this knowing, this, it's not quite spoken to me, but it's this whole experience, but it's all internal. It's heard words, sense this thing, and as I'm walking, and there's all of a sudden this thing of like, I'm this dragon, and then as it comes through, it's this thing all of a sudden about money. And there's this way that I feel my victim to money comes out, and it's what she says is essentially just a mirror back to me of, I'm just giving you what you're giving us. And I'm like, holy shit, I already am a dragon protecting my gold, but what my gold I'm protecting is my brilliance and my gifts for people and for the world and for myself, and just really owning this moment in me. That's what I'm hoarding. I'm like protecting this and really just using this really pathetic story of avoidance and of not giving that, and she was just so clear of like, give that, we'll give you gold. Like, this is a reciprocal dance. Give and receive. And it just blew my mind. It was one of the things where like I walked through and heard it and literally out loud I was like, no fucking way. Like, of course. It was cool. Very fun moment. So yeah, those are my experiences and insights from last night. As a commitment to myself, I'm going to start posting these every day. I'm going to do a daily reflections. I'm going to start going through and sharing myself and sharing what's coming through, because I'm very aware that I don't have a hobby or an art form or a thing that I really feel alive with, but I really like to share and I like to talk about these things. And so we're starting with this, trying to use this along with this fire stick training, coming alive in a different way. So this is the first of many of these, like I said, daily for the duration of my trip and beyond. And hope you enjoyed. Love to hear any insights, revelations, things that you saw through this. Comment. See ya.